and welcome to the second tutorial in our first series of painting tutorials. In this lesson, we're going to be studying something that is often overlooked but is of primary importance when painting icons, and that is how color functions in the icon. It is not enough to simply know how to mix colors and paint them onto the surface without knowing what the purpose of color is and the logic behind the way we use color in Byzantine iconography. So in this lesson, we will primarily be talking theoretically to lay the foundation so that you will understand what we're doing when we're painting. In Byzantine icons, on the contrary, there is no independent pictorial space or background beyond the painting surface. The painting space is in fact in front of the painting surface, where the forms are projected out towards the spectator. The role of color in the icon is primarily structural. We model the forms outwards using color starting from the surface and working outwards towards the viewer. The face or figure is moving in one direction and the light moves in the opposite direction. This means that the broader side of the face or figure or object will be lighter than the narrower side. We can see how the plasticity created by the light projects the forms outwards off the surface, creating a visual cone that envelops the viewer, making us feel as if we're part of the icon. While the Byzantine system follows the same basic principles of light from one period or school to another, the way the light is modeled can differ not only from one period or school, but even from one painter to another. This can clearly be seen in these icons of St. John of Damascus. In this lesson, we're going to be looking at a very important principle of Byzantine iconography, and that is the relationship and counterpoint between warm and cool and dark and light colors. Now if you look at the next example, which is a mural by Theophanes of Crete from the 16th century, we will see that a color can be warm in relation to one color, but cool in relation to another. The Theotokos' cool blue tunic contrasts again with the warm red tunic of the maiden next to her. One of the most common questions asked about icons is, what do the colors mean? What do they symbolize? While I can't go into great detail about this topic in this lesson, I do want to say a few things on the subject. As I said in the previous lessons, it is the composition that dictates our color choices. In the West, under the influence of scholastic theology in the Middle Ages, a symbol of strict color symbolism was established. But does this actually exist in Byzantine iconography? There are only a few specific instances where Byzantine painters used color in a manner that may convey some particular significance, and that relates to the garments of specific persons, usually Christ and the Theotokos. For the most part, there is very little consistency when it comes to the colors used to depict other persons, and they can differ from one icon to another. This alone indicates that there is no consistent theological meaning attributed to colors. And to further illustrate, let's take a look at this depiction of the betrayal of Christ, and in particular the garments of Judas, and compare it to a popular description of color symbolism. Here Judas is wearing the exact same gold color that Christ is wearing here. So clearly Astropas never received the memo on gold symbolism. And continue the words of George Cordes. Byzantines considered color a peripheral, conventional iconographic element belonging to the sphere of variation, or of selective rendering in the depiction of figures. A variation that is only occasionally theologically charged. It is the person that has meaning and content, and not the color of the person's garments. So in conclusion, the purpose of color in the icon is not to symbolize some hidden transcendent meaning, but rather its purpose is to function as light that creates plasticity and projects the forms off the surface and out towards the viewer. And we will discover how to do that in the next tutorials.